Thanks very
Go ahead.
lovely. Thanks very much, Seamus. That's great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Seamus, for having us. My name is Brendan Brady. I'm the Trade Facilitation Operations Manager here with SGS. Okay, sorry, it's fine. Yeah, and I'm joined here today by Garrett, Reidy, who works with us. He heads up our TransNet client centre here. We're based out at Millennium Park in Naas. We've been operating here since we started operating in 2020, just in time for Brexit. So we've a team around us here as well. What I'll do is I'll try not to rob too much of your lunchtime. Very quickly, we have I'll talk to you a little bit about SGS, and I'll just explain who SGS are and SGS Ireland, and get into the nitty gritty of TransNet and the customs transit procedure. We have some statistics on the impact on the land bridge and how transit can assist between the EU and also on coming out of the UK. But obviously, a critical part of this is if you have any questions or if there's anything that you're more interested in, we're more than willing to discuss to discuss this with people offline or after the meeting. So feel free to take this as an invitation to contact us, and if we can be of any assistance, we'd be delighted to help you out. Well, just a little bit about SGS. SGS are they're a world leader. They're basically a TIC company, which is testing, inspection, and certification. There's about nearly 90,000 employees worldwide, 2,500 offices and laboratories around the globe. 11 specific industries, and basically what we'd say is it's a global service, and we're tapping into local expertise. In Ireland, SGS has been active over here for over 40 years. We've over 38 locations, including offices, service centres, laboratories. There's about 600 staff employed over in Ireland. We've got a customer service centre over in Galway. We've obviously our head office here in Naas. We've a lab down in Dublin Port. We operate the GSI core store out in Sandyford. We're in the Irving Oil Refinery, and we've also a lab down in the in ISL in Ringaskiddy. Basically, our TransNet service operates out of Naas. We've AEOC status, and we're also an authorised consignor here with Irish Revenue. SGS in general offers services all over: environmental, government services, life sciences. It's all there. ISO, knowledge certification, etc. And we've got some big clients, government agencies, and lots of SMEs, which is mainly what we deal with in the TransNet world. But yeah, it's a pretty big organisation. Just going on to the TransNet part of it. TransNet launched in 2005 in Eastern Europe, and the idea for goods coming in from the east, basically, China, etc., coming up on trains or sometimes coming up on via deep sea vessels, whatever. There was an opportunity seen when Brexit came along to bring the service over to Ireland and the UK. Obviously, with Brexit, there was borders going to arrive around the UK, and transit was an opportunity to use transit as an opportunity to bypass them borders and just keep your goods moving. Basically, what TransNet does is we offer the transit procedure, which I'll get into in a moment. SGS will act as the holder of procedure towards customs. There's a comprehensive guarantee involved. We would go through an onboarding with our clients. We have a contract, etc., in place, and basically people would have access to our TransNet service, which is linked to 40 NCTS countries, and also our USP in that we also have the guarantee there as well. So in one place you're getting your guarantee and your transit. It's very popular inbound from people coming from France, Netherlands, etc., back across the UK into Ireland, and also outbound from Ireland across the UK back into France. 26 client centres around Europe. We've also got this brokerage businesses in the UK and Mako in France that SGS are involved in, and we can hook our clients up with them where it's needed. Just to give you an understanding, about 100,000 transits transits done through SGS every month. About 14,000 clients on our books, and obviously a big business growth and covering 93%, I think, of all of Europe at this stage. So it's quite a big brand out there in Europe, and it's although maybe new enough to Ireland and the UK, it's definitely something that's been it's proved its worth over the years. So basically, what is the customs transit procedure? So look at straight from the actual transit manual. The transit procedure facilitates the movement of goods through the territory of the customs union or common transit countries by suspending duties and other charges on imported goods until they arrive at their destination. So an example would be like previously, before Brexit, we would have been allowed load trucks, bring them through the UK, maybe drop off some goods in the UK and carry on, or even pick up other goods in the UK and carry on into France or Netherlands, and also and vice versa. Whereas now, the requirement is to have it. You would have to do an export for the goods that were stopping in the UK. You'd have to get the goods would have to be imported in the UK. And obviously, if you're carrying on, if you're picking up goods in the UK, you may need to be collecting an export document there as well to satisfy customs. Transit basically eliminates that requirement if the goods are going from EU to EU. And to give you some example routes, you'd go from Ireland through the UK back into the EU through Netherlands or France. You might be going further afield, you might be going on to Poland, whatever. And vice versa, you may be coming from anywhere in the EU and coming back in through the UK and back into Ireland or Northern Ireland. Switzerland, which isn't part of the EU, obviously, as well. Another country that's where you can raise your export or whatever in Switzerland and move the goods under transit across the UK or across the EU and bring them over to Ireland where you get where you do your import. It just basically minimises or eliminates the need for all the exports and imports on EU goods, or it assists the goods to keep moving through Ro-Ro across Europe and the UK and back into Ireland or vice versa. I suppose the key thing to remember about transit is when you're using the customs transit procedure, the goods are going under customs supervision. So the idea is when you open a transit, you open it to customs and you will close it at a customs office or a designated customs office, and that's how it works. So an understanding of what the transit do, or how's the impact of Brexit on it. There's an IMDO report in 2018 which estimated about 180,000 trucks moving across the UK between Ireland and the EU per annum. But when we started doing transits, we were monitoring the amount of T2 transits, European transits that were going across the UK land bridge, as opposed to direct ferries and back into Europe that way. And the first year after Brexit, that number was just shy of 100,000. So that's a pretty significant drop. Obviously, direct ferries, etc., wherever were available, to Rosslare to Dunkirk. So people were finding options that worked for them. However, last year in 2022, the land bridge traffic was back up and it was at 125,000. The first quarter of this year, which is January, February, March, we're seeing 131,500, and obviously we'd expect the last quarter to be busier. So there's a bit of a shift back towards it, and I suppose the reasons why that is, well, basically from people that we'd be talking to, it's a quicker and more dependable route. We people that are probably doing a transit from Calais across England and back in through Dublin, Holyhead, Dublin, in 13 and 14 hours. We've also seen people coming in and out of the Netherlands from Dublin and Rosslare in 19 hours. So there is a pretty good time saving there. So it can be more efficient use. It can turn into a more efficient use of resources, be that trucks or people driving or whatever. And I suppose the key thing is the land bridge is a pretty important route to the EU markets, particularly if you've got time sensitive goods. So it may be fresh food, or even on occasion farm goods or whatever that needs to be delivered straight away that isn't going through air freight. So the land bridge, yes, most definitely is something that's it's still there and it's still being used. And there's a bit of a pushback towards it. I'm sure costs and whatever else have to be weighed up to when you versus direct ferries and time and stuff like that. So what do you need for a transit? Well, as we mentioned, it suspends the taxes and duties. So what we're saying there is basically if you've got goods in your truck that's worth about, say, valued at €100,000, we'd speculate that the guarantee on that would be about 28%. So we'd be saying you'd need a €28,000 guarantee, and that would be covering VAT or any duties or whatever. What's going to happen is the information from a transit will be put into the NCTS. Our TransNet system is linked directly to NCTS, which is linked to 40 other countries, and that will give out an MRN, or a movement reference number, and that's called your transit MRN. Some of you may have already used this to get PBNs or whatever off the ferry companies. The key thing about this, the MRN then becomes the identity of the goods to the various customs authority. And in the background, there's massive artificial intelligence things working that's calculating, is the value correct? Is the weight of that truck right? Does the packaging make sense? And if everything adds up, and generally it does, everything's fine. Basically, the goods just keep moving and they pass through borders unstopped. They will, of course, have to close the transit at some stage, and there's a couple of different ways of doing that we'll get into. But as soon as the transit is closed, the guarantee that was allocated to it is freed up and is basically put back. So it does. That's the whole idea. It's suspending the tax and duties. The goods are under customs supervision, and when the transit is closed, everything comes back. So that's. What information would you need for to generate a transit MRN? Basically, a lot of this just comes from invoices and road consignment notes. You're getting weight, value, quantity of goods, package type, consigners and consignees, and then the routing of the vehicle. And with that information and the documents to support it, you could literally go into the NCTS or onto our system and generate a transit MRN. And be ready to go within, well, as long as it takes you to put the information in, and about 15 to 20 minutes to get it submitted to customs and released. So it's it's a quick turnaround also, if you have the information available to you. Just a little bit about some of the routes that we'd use, or that people would use. Netherlands and Belgium, this is the most popular route from a transit perspective, and the main reason being that you don't need there's no SPS checks in Netherlands, so goods basically can come in, and once the transit is discharged or when the truck comes off the ferry, they literally moves on straight away. SGS also has authorised consignor status in Ireland and Netherlands, which means there's no stop required, or you don't have to present to customs when you're opening transits there. From a numbers perspective, there was 46,000 transits between Ireland, Netherlands and Belgium in 2021. There was 70,000 in last year. So like a 50% increase, which is huge. What would you do to keep that to make that movement? You generate your transit MRN, which would include your ENS. We give ENS as part of the transit document. You get a GVMS. Some of you may be familiar with GVMS in the UK. Again, we've linked GVMS to SGS TransNet, and it's literally a tick box to generate the GVMS. and generate your PBN. Our team can do PBNs for people, or you may want to do them yourself. That's generally how it works. If you're coming out of the Netherlands or Belgium, you'll need to get your port base or your RXC port. Again, SGS are linked. We can arrange these for you if needs be. You open your T2s at the port. It's all under simplified procedure, so you won't have to present to customs unless they specifically call you. Input your MRNs onto the ferry operator system, and away you go. When you're coming into Ireland, the PBN system, which is working really well, is discharging transits automatically, so there's no stop needed there. When you're going into Netherlands, Belgium, the actual port systems are discharging transits automatically if you fed the information in when making your ferry booking. So it is eliminating stops, and that also obviously is the main reason why that route was so popular after Brexit. If you're going into France, it's similar. However, you will see that you do need to make a stop in France. French customs insisted on a stop either for opening or closing transits. I know that they're discussing that at the moment, but as it stands, that's still the case. The transit route between Ireland and France was the most affected as a result of Brexit. And just to give you an understanding there was literally 10,000 transits registered between Ireland and France in 2021, which is like there was nearly 4 times that registered into Netherlands, Belgium. It did improve slightly last year, and there's a reason behind that, which I'll get into in a moment. But it finished on 17,000 for the year. And so far, first 3 months of this year has seen almost 6,000 transits. So it's definitely making a comeback. People seem to have found a way of making that route work from France, and obviously it is the quickest. As I mentioned, we've people some of our clients are doing this in 13 and 14 hours, depending, I suppose, where drivers stop, etc., and whatever are at. But it's definitely making a comeback. Same scenario as going in and out of Netherlands. You get your GVMS, and as I mentioned, you will have to. There is a stop required in France, and it may be we've a partner, Ace Links, and the Calais truck stop. They can open and close transits. Or the critical change that happened in, I think it was the end of July last year, was French customs agreed with Irish Revenue that they will close T2s at their customs office in the port. That was really important, because it meant that drivers, if they followed the specific routing, and I'll show you what that is now, that they can just literally call to the customs office on the way out of the port, present the customs officers with their transit document and their SI Brexit, and away they go. The goods, that they close the transit for them, and the goods are back in free circulation to get delivered wherever they want. So that eliminated, for a lot of people, has eliminated the stop at the Calais truck stop. You may, of course, want to carry on to your own bonded facility, or you may have an agent that looks after this for you. That's no problem at all. That's all acceptable. But the French customs cooperating has made a significant difference. We also have, through Ace Links, we can get support on CIVEP and sheds, etc. We look after sheds for people if required. But just to talk to you a little bit about that closing in France, that's just a very a plagiarized map of Calais off Google Maps, where you can just have an indication where the actual customs office is for the tunnel, and also for if you're coming off the ferries, Irish ferries, or whatever else down there. That's generally how it works. If you are closing at a customs office in France, using the SI Brexit system is critical, and it operates quite similar to the Irish PBN system. So when you book your ferry or train, you go then and log into this SI Brexit envelope, and you basically input your MRN into that, and it'll give you a barcode. You'll use this barcode when you're getting onto the ferry or getting onto the train. They'll scan it for you. The key thing then is just take the orange channel, irrespective of what everyone else is saying. Just follow the orange channel, pull up outside the customs office in the port, tell them, yeah, T2, Irish T2, show them with your SI Brexit, and they'll basically take it from there. The general feedback on the ground at the moment is drivers are being waved on, and the customs officers are saying carry on. But it's critical that they have their SI Brexit done, and just to make sure that the actual transit is discharged. If they're unsure, they can of course carry on up to Calais truck stop and check it there, but that's generally how it works. And we'd just be advising people retain copies of any documents, just if there is a query after regarding the discharging of the transit. But it's working quite well. You see the numbers have increased significantly in the back half of last year, and obviously the first quarter this year, and we're getting a lot more queries on it now, so I'd expect there's a bit more to come. So that's just very quickly on transit and using transit as from an export, exporting from the UK. You can, if you're coming out of the UK and you're going into a bonded facility in Ireland or anywhere else in Europe, you may want to use a T1. That's all available on SGS TransNet. There was about 17,000 of the T2s used last year by Irish Customs into the UK, which closed the bonded facilities. Again, like SGS, if you are based in the UK, or if your premise is based in the UK and you want to transit from there back into Ireland or into other parts of Europe, you can let us know what the address of your facility is, and you can open your T1 transits from there, which will eliminate stopping at ports. Obviously, you're still going to have to close the transit, the T1 somewhere by lodging an import. But it's proven quite popular because it's just for that exact reason, that it's eliminating the stop at the ports. I think I had the numbers in there. Yes, 52,000 it is in 2022. So people are using it. It's avoiding delays, and from our perspective, we can help you out by getting your location put onto our license. Open your T1s from there, and obviously we have facilities that we can assist you with any export or import solutions where needed for getting your transits or your T1s discharged. Just very quickly on POAO and transit. Obviously POAO, you've CIVEP in France, you've DEFRA in the UK, you've DAFM in Ireland. The three different bodies looking after POAO. The UK have moved to IPAFs. That it's all very light touch at the moment, and looks like it'll remain that way for the short to medium term, and anyway. But there is talk of changes later in the year. You've seen the new border operating model has been issued. How that will interact with IPAFs needs to be addressed, because they don't actually talk to each other at the moment. One of the things I suppose to remember is, look, if you're traveling under transit, you should be referencing your IPAFs or your sheds on your transit document. Again, that's something that we can assist people with if needs be. But yes, there's changes, and there has been, and there was a huge element of uncertainty around POAO from Brexit, and much and all, it's been a bit better the last 12 months or so. There's still a little bit more, like I think it's December this year that they're talking about UK border controls, but I'm not sure if anybody is seeing too much happening on the ground that would suggest that that's going to go ahead. So that's generally it. Just an understanding who our clients are. Look, we have transporters, forwarders, shippers, importers, exporters, some authorized consigners and consignees that use our system. We offer two types of model. We have what we call an e-client, where people look after their own declarations. You'd submit your transit to our office. And our team would just submit it straight to customs, and that can be done from Ireland to an office in Netherlands or in France, you can control all that from your office over here, or vice versa. If you were in France, you can control what's coming out of Dublin from here or from there. That's the e-client model. The other is non-e-client, where some of our team will generate all the declarations for you. It's all subject, and all it's required is a contract and due diligence. We do have an administration fee that we go through with people at the start to get for setup. But we just make sure that DD, etc., and contracts are in place before anybody can use the system. I suppose just very briefly, some of the other services that we have. We can do standalone ENS if needs be. Some people use that. We can do GBMS on its own. Again, some clients just use that specifically. We've authorized issuer T2Ls in Ireland. We can get assistance or offer export and import in the UK and Ireland on request. And we support through our SGS network in France and Netherlands, particularly for SPS checks. Very important, it's a 24/7 service that we offer. So our office may close here at 6 o'clock in the evening, but we actually flick over to our we've a team out in Poland that work 24/7, and they be on shifts, so they support all of the different client centers outside of ours. So there's always somebody available if there's something needs to be done or something needs to be changed. And that's generally it. Our business model, just to give you an understanding of what you might be paying for the transit. I mentioned earlier about the guarantee of, say, €28,000. We'd offer guarantees up to €50,000 from an e-client perspective for €60. If we do the work for you, we'd probably be charging another €15 to €20 for whatever is required for the data inputs. And I suppose just remember that our transit prices also include ENS. T2Ls are €40 and imports and exports starting at €49. And that's generally that. So I don't know, Seamus, if you want to summarize it, if there's any questions or whatever that we can assist with. I'll certainly give you. I'll put our contact details up on the screen anyway. I'm not sure whether you send it around, but looking at the time, just coming up to 1:30. So yeah, we'll take some questions if there's anything there. Yeah.
Yeah, super. Thanks very much for the presentation, Brendan. Okay, yeah, we can make these slides available to register people after the event, so we'll certainly send them on, and a copy of the recording of your presentation there. But yeah, we've got some time now for questions. So if anybody, I think, would like to ask, either send a question through the chat box or just ask it out here audibly now, please. No questions from the floor? Everyone's okay?
Good stuff.
I guess that's a sign, that's generally a sign of a well delivered presentation. Fair play to you, Brendan.
Thanks, Seamus. Appreciate that. No, look, listen, if anybody has anything, we'd be more than willing to discuss it. If you have any specific requirements, myself or Garrett will certainly help you through. If people are taking the system on as an e-client perspective, we do offer, we do some training. Just I suppose to keep for your own information, later on this year NCTS 5 is due to roll out in Ireland. That's another shift towards more digitization of the whole transit procedure. Potential there that paper copies will not be required, but that's not guaranteed at the moment. So yes, customs are in a place where they're offering trade facilitation as much as customs and safety and security. So transit fits nicely into both categories for them from that perspective. So yeah, if there's something that you think we can be of assistance with, please do let us know. Yeah.
Super. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for your presentation today, and I'll certainly make a copy of the slides there with everybody. So if there are any questions, just to the email addresses here at the end that you can send your queries on to. I guess that's it for today. So yeah, thanks very much again, Brendan, and thanks everyone for taking time from the lunch to join this presentation also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.